Nice. Hello and welcome back to Dudes on Twitch. Back today with BANT Maverick. So we went 4-1 this morning with BANT Maverick, playing against 4-color control twice, playing against Dredge and Grixis Delver, and losing to Sneak and Show. So a pretty good mix. We have made some changes to the deck. So one change is I've dropped the 8th fetch land for a Horizon Canopy. I think this sort of effect on a land is really good in a deck with both another Reliquary and Ramunap. And just allows us to, if we draw into too many lands, we can actually start just maybe sacking, of course, Canopy to just draw into hopefully some spells. So it does help with flooding a little bit if we get into that sort of situation. The other thing that I changed was Gilded Goose. I took that out for Birds of Paradise. I like that there's no restriction on Birds of Paradise. There were a few times where Gilded Goose was a little bit awkward. Either that it couldn't really do anything, or we didn't have the accessibility of something like Oko to create ongoing food tokens. So I think it's better just to have Birds of Paradise, even though Gilded Goose has so many upsides of creating further food and just its synergy with Oko. So that's going to be interesting. Other than that, no changes, which is nice. So we'll see how we go. If you want to see the last league, which was a 4-1, you can catch it on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/c/DukesOnTwitch. Otherwise, we'll get straight into it. A huge thank you to Card Hoarder for supplying me with these cards. They sponsor the channel. You can support me by using the Cardboard Live link in my Twitch or in the description of my YouTube channel videos. Also to MTG Mate, who is an Australian online seller. They sell MTG singles at really good rates. They have a great buy list as well, so if you're looking to offload cards, definitely look at MTG Mate as an option. They also give you more for store credit, which is really good. I think it's about 25%, which is very sweet. That's really it. The deck's pretty straightforward. We'll see how it goes in a few leagues. I'm really liking the Sylvan Libraries over the 2 Stoneforge Mystics. I don't think we really need Stoneforge Mystics, so this should be pretty fun. We're playing a Legacy League. We'll use play points. Nice. Good times. This deck's been really fun. I'm still trying to work out the key advantages of playing BANT over Green-White or Green-White-Black or Punishing Maverick. And I think the big thing is just now how good Oko is. And having Oko in our sort of strategy, it allows us to attack opponents in sort of 2 angles. So one through our creatures, and then secondly through our planeswalkers like Oko and Teferi, which is pretty fun. So really looking forward to just having more time with Oko. I mean, as a Green-White player, I don't have too much interaction with it on my side of the field, other than a BANT deck like this. So it's been pretty fun to play, especially understanding its power from the side of someone who's really just used to playing against it. Teferi as well, in the same retrospect. Up against Stutch, we would love to play first. And this hand's a little bit rough. So we have a turn 3 Knight and 2 Swords. So there's many decks that Swords just doesn't really play a part in. So I think I'm pretty happy to mulligan this. We don't really have a game plan until turn 3. So pretty happy to mull into a hand like this, actually. This is pretty fantastic. So I'm going to keep this. And we're just going to drop 1 Thalia. So I'm going to go for a Misty Rainforest into a Savannah, and then play the Noble Hierarch. Mainly, I'm getting a Savannah because it allows us to cast the Thalia turn 2 if this Noble doesn't make it. Swamp by itself is always pretty scary. Most likely some sort of Dark Ritual deck, but you never truly know until Thoughtseize. Okay. Thoughtseize most likely just taking the Oko. Taking one Thalia is not really the greatest idea when we can just play another one, and the second one would just be stuck in our hand. But I think Thalia is pretty good against really any Thoughtseize deck, which is nice. Teferi, interesting. So the one thing that I really like about Teferi here is that if we don't draw into a 4th land next turn, we can still play Thalia. So I actually like... It's tough. If we're against a Cabal Therapy opponent or a Hindered Turak opponent, then the Thalia is a lot better. I'm gonna go with Teferi. This is tough. I think just the turn 2 Thalia is just so good that it's worth just going for Thalia and then just attacking with the Noble Hierarch. But it's tough there because this Teferi now really relies on that 4th mana being drawn, which I believe has a pretty big chance, but Plains. Interesting. Okay. This looks like some sort of Dead Guy Ale list. Canopy. I'm going to play the Canopy, and then I'm going to use it to draw a card. Because we can definitely draw into more gas that we cast this turn. The sword cannot, but happy here just to attack for 3. Dead Guy's an interesting matchup. Something like a Dark Confidant can be pretty hard to actually stop if we don't have a Swords to Plowshares. My opponent not playing into Scryb Ranger, where we could actually untap the Thalia and deal with this Tidehorse Sculler with first strike, which would be pretty nice. Karakas is a pretty nice way to deal with the Thalia. However, the Wasteland now gets turned on as a target for Karakas. Unless this is something like Thalia, or Liliana, sorry. Last Hope's pretty good. That's going to really decimate our board. Ooze is at least a card we can play. But these Thalias are now dead in hand, which is pretty rough. I think we'll concede at the Plague Engineer. It's a pretty rough start. Maybe the Teferi was a better play there. Surveil of Summer seems great. I don't mind the Palace Jailer and the Council's Judgments and the Path to Exile. I don't mind taking out all 4 Thalia. Gaddock Teeg. I think everything else really has its place. Maybe the sword is a little not so great. Never seen a deck like that. So Dead Guy Ale is actually a pretty old deck. It used to play things like Lingering Souls, Vindicate, Dark Confidant, Thoughtseize, Hindered Turak. Imagine a Death and Taxes style deck without, or with black. So I believe some variants even played Aether Vial as well. I think this is all I want. The Knight of Autumn's kind of nice because it also hits the Tidehorse Scullers because they are artifact creatures. So maybe I'm happy to drop like a Wasteland because they do have quite a basic heavy mana base as well, and don't really have too many non-basic cards. Ramunap's pretty nice as well. I think Ramunap's better than the 4th Knight. Actually, I think the Knight's better than the 4th Green Suns. This isn't really a matchup where we're looking to find a specific silver bullet with Green Sun Zenith, so I'm happy to go down to 3 and then have the 4th Knight just in the deck because creatures are really good in the creature matchup. So we'll see how this goes. Would love to play first. Sadly, it's an Olander, so we will mulligan this. This is a lot better. We'll keep this. And I'm just going to bottom probably the Trop. Because we can play a Tundra for Mum. So, happy to go Trop to the bottom. Tundra, Mother of Runes. Plague Engineer is going to be an issue. Because we do have quite a heavy start on humans. And a lot of our creatures that are pretty relevant are also X1s. Taking a sword, interesting. Another Mum. So now Plague Engineer is going to be really nice. They probably also run something like Zealous Persecution, which is a white and black instant. All your creatures get +1/+1, all your opponent's creatures get -1/-1. Nothing from my opponent's interesting. Another Hierarch. I'm going to keep this Hierarch back for now. In case they do play Plague Engineer, I just want to hold up a Noble Hierarch that I can play with that Path to Exile up. Zealous is pretty good as well. And there's the Plague. I assume name's human. I'll just get rid of it now with this Path to Exile. Which, although they get a basic off it, it's a lot better than just sticking around because it does hit a lot of our creatures. Something like Sylvan Library would be nice. Oko's a little bit too late, sadly. Chop's pretty nice because now we can cast this Oko. And start ticking it up. Vindicate's pretty good. Sword's not the greatest draw. You don't really want a Swords of Spirit unless it's maybe being equipped by something like Jitte. So this is definitely an uphill fight. Bob's a great target for swords. But these 4 Lingering Souls are going to be pretty hard to deal with. We're not playing black, so we don't have anything like Plague Engineer or Zealous Persecution to deal with them. I was going to get a Dryad Arbor there, but there's not too much reason to do that. Here I don't mind playing Teferi and bouncing the Bob, just to gain a little bit of time. I could also tick it up and see if they attack into it, but I kind of want to just get a card in hand, keep them off Bob for now. Judgment doesn't look too great in the face of 4 spirits. I think we'll just concede there. Unfortunately, just that Zealous Persecution was pretty good, and then the Plague Engineer cleaning up everything else. So a quick game, but definitely a downside to playing a deck with a pretty good amount of X1s. I mean, the double mum starts are really nice against the heavy 1-for-1 removal, like Swords to Plowshares or Fatal Push, but against something like Zealous Persecution out of the board, it's pretty tough to deal with. And even the main deck, Plague Engineer, is also pretty hard. I'm not running anything like Gideon Ally of Zendikar for its +1/+1 Anthem effect, or anything like Wildleaf Liege. It sounds actually pretty nice, especially with the Scryb Ranger. We can get some early mana out. The Dryad Arbor is a bit of a dead card, but I'm pretty happy to keep this. It's just a little bit weak to some of the more sort of combo heavy starts from opponents. Tropical Island. I'm just going to go for a basic off this Misty. And then play Noble Hierarch. This looks like Miracles, but you can never really tell. Windswept Heath, not really what we want as a second land. So I'm just going to play... I'm going to play the Windswept Heath and attack for 1 here. And then just hold up Scryb Ranger. Hey, Jesus. Yeah, so this is just like a BANT version of Maverick. I wouldn't call it stock standard in any way. I actually haven't seen Teferi in a Maverick list yet. So that'll be pretty interesting to see how it goes. It's been pretty good so far. The deck's currently, I believe it is 16-4 win-loss ratio, which is pretty nice. But yeah, 3 Teferi just gives us a little bit more against some of the unfair decks, and allows us to play a little bit more of a go wide style against decks like Miracles without adding too many more creatures to the board, which is nice. That's fine. Hierarch. I think I'm happy just to play out the Hierarch, attack with Scryb Ranger, and then play the Jitte next turn. Or end of combat, sorry. Yeah, Teferi seemed kind of sweet. Especially when you can cast at turn 2. It does stop things like Terminus. You can't Miracle Terminus, which is really cool. Getting a force isn't too bad for the Jitte. Obviously, it'd be really nice because right now it's our only way of removing any sort of creatures from our opponent, like a mentor. But you know, right now we're just trying to apply a little bit of pressure and hopefully draw into like a Green Sun Zenith or another sort of threat. One nice thing is now that our Wasteland's turned on by this Trop. Jesus, what are you playing in Legacy right now? What are you enjoying? Oko's fine. A little bit annoying, but not too bad. Gaddock Teeg. I'm going to attack Oko first, just to get it below its ultimate. Still with the Abzan version, very cool. Are you playing any Planeswalkers in your 75, like Vraska, or Garruk, or Nissa? Yeah, Vraska seems kind of cool. The Abrupt Decay ability and then sticks around is really nice. Knight. Knight's a pretty nice pickup. So I'm pretty happy here to attack first. At Oko. Just so they can't switch our Knight for the food. Vivian's very cool. There's definitely a reason not to play the Knight there because the Oko can switch it, but I think I'm happy if that happens, just to get the Oko off the table. The Astrolabe's probably less of what I want. There's definitely reasoning there to keep the Knight in hand, but I don't think I'm going to be winning this game if I'm trying to draw into an out for the Oko. Just because we don't have any flyers, we can't really get any damage through these. We really have to do it through the... Interesting, just making Knight a 3-3. Now the Hierarch's actually kind of nice. Means the Knight can attack for 5 into Oko. Pretty happy for the double block as well. The 3-3 is not doing much anyway. And it means that the Gaddock Teeg can attack for 4 at Oko with just the Astrolabe up as a creature, which is kind of cool. Oko, interesting. Gonna attack first. Icewind Curdle's pretty good. Alright. Elder Spell? I don't think I can splash a fourth color in this, sadly. You know, you probably could if you played Birds of Paradise instead of Noble Hierarch as a playset. But I'm pretty happy to try to get the feel of BANT and then maybe go for like a Dark BANT. I know Dark BANT was definitely a deck in the past. But, you know, having Deathrite Shaman as a mana dork is a lot better than having Noble Hierarch. It's pretty amazing to think that Deathrite Shaman was once in the format. Just such a powerful card. This is fine. Happy to take it. Sylvan Library, okay. Tick up on the food. Attack Oko for 5. Play Sylvan Library, hopefully it sticks. Sylvan Library is pretty huge of a pickup. If they attack with both of these artifacts, Mentor's a pretty nice pickup. That's gonna be a tough one to deal with if they do have multiple spells. So I should have actually played the Dryad Arbor this turn to chump block, because otherwise the food would have been able to attack for 5 next turn. Gonna pay 4 for both of these. Play Dryad Arbor. Play Mum. Create a food. And then attack Oko. I think we'll concede there. Unfortunately, they just go a bit too wide, and their Oko is just so much better than ours. But we do some cool things in the sideboard, so Collector Ouphe is fine. I definitely like Dovin's Veto. I definitely like Council's Judgment, and Palace Jail doesn't seem too bad. Knight of Autumn seems pretty great, especially against their Astrolabes. I don't mind skimping on Swords of Plowshares and Knights. Also Green Suns. Collector Ouphe is interesting. It's quite nice to be able to hit their mana in some way, especially forcing them to get things like Tropical Islands out of their deck, which turns on Wasteland, so I don't mind the Ouphe. I can probably drop down on things like 1 Hierarch, 1 Oko. Yeah, Teeg's interesting. So Teeg is really there for Jace, Force of Will to some extent, and Supreme Verdict. They're the big things. I'd expect this deck to play Supreme Verdict out of the board, so Teeg seems okay. But I can even drop a Wasteland and then bring back in something like Veil of Summer, which is pretty nice. It saves us stuff from Oko, and it also just allows us to get through some of their counter magic. So I'm gonna try this out. I don't think Veil's that great on the draw, but I think on the play it could be okay. So this hand I don't mind. We can Green Sun straight away for Dryad Arbor. Or we could just go for Mum straight away. A lot of options. Knight's gonna be nice as a 4/4 as well. I think Mum off the block is just really good. I think Teeg's a lot better against the sort of more traditional builds of Miracles, with Terminus and Entreat and sometimes Engineered Explosives. Alright. Gonna get a Savannah and play the Mother of Runes. Island Pass is pretty good for us. Swords, okay. So I can Green Suns for 1 here if I wish. I can also just keep this for later on. So I might play a fetch land and pass back. Yeah, it's fair enough. I think EE is getting to be old tech. And there's probably just better answers to some things. Gonna Green Sun's Fatigue here. Am I? I think I'll Green Sun's Fatigue here instead of playing the Knight because... Is there really a reason? I don't think there is. I think I'd rather just play the Knight here. I'm not really scared of like Terminus, so there's no real reason to go for Green Suns there when I could maybe go for something else down the line. Force pitching force, okay. Can definitely attack here. If they play an Ice Blink Venkoda, we do have the sorts of Plowshares, which is nice. Looks like just a pass. A fetch here most likely means either Jace or Supreme Verdict. Wasteland's nice. I'm going to draw a card first and see what we hit. Savannah. Sadly, not too much we can do there. Mentor's fine. Just gonna swords it now. I'm gonna force it. Alright. Palace Jailer. I think I'm happy here to actually just cast Council's Judgment on the Mentor, and then hopefully deal with play the Palace Jailer in a better place down the line. Just a bit too risky to play it with a creature on the field against an opponent with you know, Swords of Plowshares, Jace Bounce. The Mentor's pretty good, but Veil. We don't have too much else. I should have actually kept up the I should have kept up the Savannah, because then we can hold up both Swords of Plowshares if we draw it off the Crown and Veil of Summer. So that's hopefully something that doesn't come back to bite us. Teferi. Okay, Teferi's kind of nice. Swords is pretty good, but we can't do anything with that. So this is where the Palace Jailer can really come back at you pretty hard, because now it's going to be pretty tough to actually get the Crown back. I think I'd rather Knight here. And just passing. Oko's pretty good. Ah, I meant to Veil of some of that. Meant to Veil of some of that. Our own Oko, okay. But only one blue. And of course we could have cast both of these if we did have this Knight around. This is why, yeah, just being a bit trigger happy with this this pass key has really not helped. For a second, I just thought that the only way Oko could do anything I think we just let this slide. I think they could have definitely attacked with both to see if we'd get rid of a creature. Now I'm going to keep this Veil around once more. I'm not going to cycle it. They didn't cast a blue spell anyway. Jitte is actually pretty good. Rough. Could have played that entirely differently to have the knight online, which would be really nice, but just not really on top of it, which is pretty rough. But 4-color can be pretty rough. I mean, any sort of Oko matchup is pretty hard to get by. Especially because what it does to creature decks is just, it really pulls us away from really wanting to attack our opponent. And just start attacking the Oko, and it just buys them time, and pretty tough. Oh, we went turn 1, okay. Let's go with Dryad Arbor. Looks like my opponent's going to discard. Dredge, okay. I don't mind Thalia here, and then next turn we can Scooze. If they don't have a land, then we can hopefully stop them from doing anything like flashback Cabal therapies. So they're going to Dredge in response. Interesting. This looks like a kind of hybrid of Reanimator and Dredge. They probably have Dread Return. Nether Shadow. Interesting. So we'll keep the graveyard open over here. Yeah, hopefully it is manaless and they can't cast these Cabal therapies now. That'd be really nice. There's a Dread Return, which is pretty good. Also the Hogak. Ugh. We do have the swords for Hogak, but if they hit multiple bridges, then it's going to be pretty tough. They can probably easily just dredge away some of these non-creature spells that they can't actually cast with Thalia out, which is kind of nice for us. Okay. So bridge will trigger here. So here I don't mind just playing Scooze. And probably eating the Icarid in upkeep. Nothing too bad here either, which is nice. Scavenging Ooze now is a 3/3 and Thalia are just great blockers for the zombies anyway, so the bridge from below aren't too much of an issue. Having these sorts of Plowshares for the Hogak as well is really nice. I think we just take this extra 1, we don't block. Because we can gain the 1 anyway from Scavenging Ooze by eating it. And by blocking here, they get a 2/2 from the bridge from below. So happy just to take this and go down to 10. Windswept Heath, okay. I could take out the Golgari Grave Troll, but they have so many dredges that it's not really worth it. I'm just going to allow them to dredge first. Another bridge is pretty interesting. So we definitely fetch here. I'm going to get a Savannah. So we can Swords the Hogak. We can then eat 2 bridges. Are there only 2 bridges in here? I believe so. And then might as well eat the other bridge. Go to blocks and block here. No blocks, we'll eat some of their creatures that can come back, so Icarid, Nether Shadow, and I might as well fetch here, get a Trop. I could hide the fact that I'm playing these colors, but pretty happy to see how this plays out. Now we can hold up both Swords, Plowshares, and double eat with Scavenging Ooze, which is quite nice. Narcomoeba, okay. So Narcomoeba will definitely eat, and then the Hogak will definitely eat. Alright. I will be back in 1 second. Alright, so sideboard's not too bad. Surgical's great. Faerie Macabre's great. Path is great. I'm pretty happy to take out probably Teferi. Maybe just an Oko. Swords is still great. Mum's still great. Can probably drop down on a Knight. A Wasteland, of course. Probably even 2 Wastelands. Gaddock Teeg's still nice because it stops Dread Return. Maybe Scryb Ranger. Scryb Ranger's pretty nice as well because it gets Narcomoeba pretty well. So I'm going to drop a Noble Hierarch. Yeah, the Stoneforge package is interesting. Maybe the Sword of Fire and Ice, actually. And I might bring in something like Palace Jailer. And just go with this. Send is kind of nice, but it's a little bit too slow. We don't have any sort of free effects like Faerie Macabre or or Surgical. And I think I'm pretty happy to mulligan at least once, just a little bit aggressively. This isn't really where we want to be, but it's not the worst hand. I'm gonna drop the Wasteland. It's our turn, of course. Alright. Upkeep, I'll fetch. I'll get a Savannah. Interesting, they must have drawn the Chancellor or else they would have shown it. Draw for turn. Dryad Arbor. Probably just fetch for a drop. And play Thalia. Narcomoeba, okay. Pretty happy just to take this here. As good as First Strike is, I don't really want my opponent getting too many... Maybe I should actually keep my life total pretty high. If I block here, we take 3 and go to 15. My opponent gets a 2-2. Which isn't the worst thing, we have Knight coming down. So I don't mind this. It's better than doing it later on when they might have more bridges in the graveyard. Surgical, okay. Well, Surgical's actually really nice. They brought in Force of Vigors, which is interesting. Now I don't mind us playing Dryad Arbor here. And just having 2 blockers. Because these Icarids are going to get pretty out of hand if we don't deal with them quickly. I mean, we're pretty much going down to 1 if these Icarids stay around. Just these Nether Shadows and Narcomoebas are going to be really good for my opponent. Just being able to stick threats. And really just go too wide for us. I mean, what if we deal with the zombie here? Take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go to 6. And then next turn we have 2 blockers. And we take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we can do that. I actually think we're just dead, sadly. I think what we should have done is actually played the Canopy and see if we could have drawn into Faerie Macabre, but even then, because if we tap out here for another Reliquary, we have 2 blockers for the 2 Icarids, the Nether Shadow comes back, and then we take 6 anyway because the Nether Shadow has haste. I mean, we could try to like block something and then swords our own Thalia. But we don't have a great way to just deal with a huge amount of X1s, so I think we just have to concede this game, unfortunately. Yeah, it started too fast. Just a really nice fast start. So Palace Jailer can definitely come out. I think I like having the Noble Hierarch. Just because of our starts, they can start with turn 1 Noble Hierarch, turn 2 Screws with the green mana up, are just so good that I want the biggest possibility of having those. We can take out Qasali Pridemage and take out Gaddock Teeg because the Thalias probably do enough already. And just bring back in... I don't mind Knight of Autumn. I don't mind Ramunap as a body, and also just to get back Dryad Arbors as blockers. And then maybe even something like Knight of Autumn, just as a body that also gains life if we really need it. I think it's just a nice sort of silver bullet to have for Green Suns. Sadly a little bit too slow. We'll mulligan this. This isn't where we want to be either. Now we're getting pretty low on cards. I guess we just have to keep this. And we have to bottom 3. Alright. We'll keep the Karakas for Hogak. So I guess we'll go Savannah, Swords, and then maybe just Green Suns here. Sadly. Chancellor's pretty good. Happy to get Dryad Arbor here. Noble Hierarch, pay the 1. Okay, so a pretty slow start for our opponent, which is nice. Oko. I think here the best thing is just to Green Suns. I could go and get Scavenging Ooze if I wish. Scooze actually seems like the best play here. Screws does seem nice, but they don't have something here at the end step, like a Street Wraith. Okay, nothing, which is nice. What do they hit? Golgari, Street Wraith, Skimps, Stinkweed. Okay. Not too bad. And it looks like they don't have anything. Probably discarding a bridge. Okay, that's interesting. Windswept Heath. Okay. So now I'm pretty happy just to start hit Golgari Grave Troll. They might try to Street Wraith in response. They don't. Let's try to eat the other Dredger, Stinkweed Imp. Okay. Now we can actually go and attack for 5. Yeah, it's pretty tough to beat. So luckily our Molder 4 gets there. So we get on the board, which is nice. Going up against Manaless Dredge, which is definitely a pretty budget-friendly deck to play if you're looking to get into the format. Legacy is a pretty fun deck to play. Pretty fun format to play, apologies. But yeah, unfortunately 2 quick losses to Dead Guy Ale, and I believe was 3 4-color Stompy. But yeah, Screws was really nice there. Scavenging Ooze. I can't believe it was printed in a commander set. Like, that's how it first entered the field of Magic. Which is pretty sweet. Jesus, how are you liking BANT Maverick? What do you, if anything, what are you having problems with? Are you playing any Spice, like main deck Abrupt Decay, or Obelisk Spider? Yeah, Decays in the main deck are pretty nice. Really nice answers to Oko. Although they're not a clean answer usually. It's pretty nice to have. Hey, come over. Let me see what you put together. I'd love to see what sort of list you'd come up with. Because I have been really enjoying it. I think it's really fun to play with Oko in a deck that you can get it out turn 2. So you can get it out faster than the other Oko decks. Hey, Knight Rider. Hello from Italy. Hope you're doing well. We're currently down 1-2. So we went down to Dead Guy Ale in the opening, and then we went down to, I believe, 3-color or 4-color Mentor. And then we just got up against Manaless Dredge. So seeing a little bit of everything. It's kind of a weird time as well. I'm in Australia, so it's 8:36 p.m. But I think it's pretty early morning, like 5 a.m. in the US. But what's the Legacy scene like in Italy? What do you play yourself if you play Legacy? 11:36, nice. Good morning. What's the usual Italian breakfast do you guys have? Oh, you play Green White Maverick. Very cool. Huge fan. Green white's pretty nice. Milk and biscuits and a cup of coffee. That sounds mint. That sounds really nice. Big fan of all three of those. How are you liking Green White Maverick? That's pretty good. So we have a Green White Maverick player in chat. We have an Abzan Maverick player in chat, and we have a BANT Maverick player on stream, which is kind of cool. All right, we have our match, which is nice. We're on the draw. And this hand's fine. It's a turn 2 knight, which is kind of nice. The Dryad Arbor is a little bit lackluster in the opening, but I'm going to keep this. Verdant Catacombs. Interesting. Swords. Alright, let's go for a Savannah, and then play Noble Hierarch. Hopefully, okay. Interesting. These are some interesting colors. Verdant Catacombs, Polluted Delta. Doesn't give away too much. I'm just going to go with Knight here. Ice Sphinx fine. Maybe they want to draw a card to see if they can draw it to like Force of Will. No, okay. Here in Italy, meta is full of Okos in all kind of versions, so I put 2 Mirran Crusader main to beat them. Mirran Crusader seems really nice right now. Okay, so if we draw into a mana source that is colored, we can actually kill this Oko. Actually, we can kill it anyway because it only goes up to 5. So here we can go Swords the Ice Fang, play Hierarch, and then swing at Oko for 5. I think I'm pretty happy here actually just playing the Mum out in our second main, not after damage, of course. I don't want to go too wide. I know a lot of players have been playing Dead of Winter, which is pretty good. But even something like Plague Engineer would be pretty rough. Astrolabe's okay. Plague Engineer, okay. Name human. I believe I did play a land. Surely. They're gonna block, interesting. Okay. If I didn't play a land, then I definitely meant to. Green Suns for 2. Okay, most likely an Icewind Codal. It's gonna be fine. Scavenging Ooze, okay. Oh, we can't actually attack because they can eat 2 creatures with this Astrolabe, so kind of just have to pass back, which is pretty rough. Yeah, Astrolabe kind of makes a mockery of this deck, which is kind of sad. I do have the ability here to actually trade the Qasali Pridemage with the Astrolabe, which in turn kind of just trades as a green source, which I don't mind. Just to make sure the Screws doesn't get too much out of hand. It's not the greatest trade, especially if they've already drawn a card off the Astrolabe, but having the second forest there is pretty nice. Could just have Hardcast Force here, but I think it's worth just trying to get this Green Suns out. Yeah. Urka doesn't do a whole lot here. It actually makes the Screws bigger, which is kind of funny. I can actually try to just block the Screws and then trade with it next turn. Which is a pretty nice answer. I'm going to take this just to make sure next turn I have all the mana available that I want. I mean, drawing something like Scryb Ranger is pretty nice because it means we can just block Scavenging Ooze and then return it before damage. So I don't want to crack this food because Oko could be great as well. Mum is a little bit too late. So I'll block with Bird. And then before damage I'll probably just eat. Probably just sack this food. It's not doing too much else. Rough. Block here. Pro green. Okay. There's Scryb Ranger. So we do have a bit of time, at least now. I might actually cast this in my turn just to play around any sort of hard cast counterspell. Yeah, I've always liked Ramunap Excavator. I always feel when I take it out, I can definitely see why. Especially because like the recursion of Wasteland isn't that great right now. But it's just tough. Oko's fine. That's fine. This is no longer a, yeah, it's a green card. So we can block here. And then before damage, we can untap it to return it. But yeah, Ramunap's interesting. I think you can definitely shave on it with the Astrolabes around everywhere. I've always liked it just to be able to recur things like, I guess, Wasteland, but also Horizon Canopy. Even against some of the Delver decks, it's nice just to be able to, if you've been in a bit of a war, to be able to get out of it. I think these are the cards I want. I actually don't mind Collector Ouphe to hit the Astrolabes. I think we can probably take out... Probably the path isn't that great. Teeg can come out. Qasali can come out. I'll drop a Knight. Might even drop 2 Knights. Especially seeing that they bring in... Or they have Scavenging Ooze. I don't think Sword is that great in this matchup. I don't think Wasteland is that great in this matchup. I think I'm pretty happy to trim a Thalia as well. And then also maybe just one Oko. Maybe even a Mum if they're playing Plague Engineer and keep the Oko in. It's always pretty tough. I'd love to play first. I don't mind this hand. We can go turn 2 Thalia into turn 3 Knight. But it will only be a 2/2. I think that's fine. Thoughtseize would be pretty good for my opponent. Not going to see it, which is nice. They kept Enforcers. Interesting. Didn't think they'd keep Enforcers for a fair matchup. Sylvan Library's pretty good. They can be pretty aggressive with this as well. I could have saved the Green Suns for something to kill the Sylvan Library, but I kind of want to get my mana out and maybe even get this Oko online pretty fast. Do we draw a land? We don't. Still pretty happy for Oko. Create a food. That's fine. The one thing that's pretty rough about this is that Palace Jailer just doesn't do a whole lot. And when they do get a creature back, it most likely does something. So if you take an Ice Fang Codal, they're going to draw another card when it comes back into play. Can actually trade these, which is kind of nice. I don't mind that. Even if they draw a card off it. Now we can go Green Suns for 2. Try and get Scryb Ranger, and then we can hold up Swords to Plowshares and Veil of Summer. Nice. So now we can untap Noble Hierarch, return the Forest, play Forest, Swords this, and pass back. So pretty nice turn there. Leovold turning off their Sylvan Library is really nice. Questing Beast. Okay. I guess we kind of have to block it. And then we can Palace Jailer it next turn. One, two, untap, return, play this, 3, 4, Palace Jailer, trigger, take this, I'm going to keep up the Veil. Actually, I don't have to because we have the, we can untap at any time, so we'll go for Noble Hierarch. Create a food token. Swing with Scryb Ranger for 3. I wasn't expecting Leovold either. But in this sort of deck, it kind of makes sense, I guess. Nice. Okay. Plague Engineer, okay. In response, let's untap Hierarch, returning Forest. And float a green. Gilded Goose. That's gonna be fine. Do I want to use this mana? I don't think I do. Wasteland. Play a land. Green Suns for Dryad Arbor. Tick this up. And probably just pass back here. I guess I could attack with the Scryb Ranger. There's no point. I guess there's no point really because the Gilded Goose is a 0/2. They're gonna let it go through. Interesting. Green Suns, okay. Leovold. I think in response here we just Oko, we Veil of Summer so we can actually draw a card off it. Swords is a really nice pickup. No attacks, interesting. Collector Ouphe is pretty nice. I really want a second white source though, so I can play Swords and Knight. We definitely tick this up and create a food. I think we definitely Swords the... Probably just keep up Swords for now. Play Ouphe. Play Wasteland. And then just pass back. We don't draw a card because of Leovold, but I kind of want to steal it. I don't want to use the swords on it. I want to use your swords, if anything, on the Plague Engineer. Green Suns for 2. Okay. Still nothing. Interesting. I'm not going to use the swords here. I'm going to untap. Wasteland's kind of nice. We're going to exchange this food with Leovold. I am then happy to... Probably Swords the Skoos. That's what I'm most scared of right now. This fetch here most likely means I just get another green source here. Which is kind of nice because it has to be a jewel. Can I... Yeah, I'm gonna go get Birds of Paradise. Just so we have that extra white mana. Nice. Green Suns for 3. Interesting. Maybe another Leovold? Okay. Veil. Alright, let's go white. 1 white Judgment. Probably get their own Leovold. They're just going to concede, it looks like. Okay. Sideboarding's interesting. I think seeing the Leovold and Plague Engineers, the extra path is definitely worth it. The Knight of Autumn's actually pretty good as well because of the Sylvan Libraries. I'm not sure if we just want to drop Dovin's Veto and Veil of Summer. Might actually drop a Thalia and keep a Veil. I like that setup. Just because of Plague Engineer is just so good. This is a 1-lander on the draw. I don't mind it on the draw, especially with with double access to Mana Dorks, and also the Sylvan Library. I'm gonna keep this. Probably risky, but you know, you gotta risk it for the biscuit. Nice. Okay, let's go for Savannah into Noble. I don't mind just going for Council's Judgment here. I do also have the option of Sylvan Library and Mother of Runes, which is kind of nice. But I think just because it's going to 6, we really need to get rid of it right now. Bitter Blossom, interesting. Bitter Blossom pretty good with Oko. So let's go for Sylvan Library and then Mother of Runes. Holding the sword mainly for Plague Engineer. This most likely is a black source or green source. Okay, it's not. I was going to say for okay, Ice Fang's okay. Oh, interesting. I don't mind paying 4 for this. Maybe Dovin's Veto is not where I want to be. Definitely happy to block. And then go to give pro green. Put on top, put on top. Draw this. Night of Autumn. Destroy this. Play this. Tick this up. To create a food token and then pass. Oko making these 3/3s is going to be pretty brutal. I could have made a 3/3, but I believe I can actually just keep the Oko around if we only block one thing here. Otherwise, they might have attacked it as well with the Skoos. I can trade the Knight here, which I'm pretty happy to do. I could attack here if I wanted to with pro green, but I'm just going to hold it back and hold up Dovin's Veto. I don't think this is actually where I want to be in this matchup. I think Dovin's Veto is probably a bad thing to bring in, especially because it doesn't deal with Abrupt Decay. Yeah, I can't even do anything with that. That is game, unfortunately. Just wiping our board. So really missing some sort of board wipe in this deck. We do have Jitte, but it doesn't do too much in the face of just so many creatures and a lot of abrupt decays around. I think if anything, like Mirrored Crusader seems pretty nice in that matchup. But I'm not sure if we're in a place to actually play more creatures. But yeah, tough. Tough. Even something like Hibernation isn't that great, because it only hits a few creatures. It does play around Leovold, which is nice, but it's not doing what we want. If anything, we just want black for Zealous Persecution and a few other things. So we can try to finish this off as a 2-3 league. But really wanting to do that a little bit more. Yeah, it is really brutal. I mean, we want to be attacking with creatures, and their Icefang Codals and Okos just make it so much worse. And the main deck Plague Engineers are just like the icing on the cake. Like it's a rough matchup all around. It's just so hard to deal with so many different threats. Like, we can't attack the Okos because of Icefangs and Plague Engineers. We can't get a board presence because of Oko and Plague Engineer. Then Abrupt Decay's on top. Their mana's really good. Even without the Astrolabes, like, Collector Ouphe doesn't do too much, which is pretty rough. Alright. In our last game. Hopefully get there. Hemming. Okay. Not the biggest fan of this hand. Especially if we're just leading on Savannah. I kind of want to have at least a mana dork. This hand's a lot better. We'll keep this and bottom the Dryad Arbor. Elves. Okay. This is going to be pretty rough. I think let's go for Savannah into Noble Hierarch. Okay, that's not too bad. Green Suns. I guess we can Green Suns for Gaddock Teeg. We could also Ochre the Heritage Druid. I don't mind just going for Green Suns for Gaddock Teeg to stop Natural Order. And also Green Suns itself. But it's not the... I didn't feel too safe, let's just say that. Okay, not too bad. Oh, Jitte. Sadly, we can't cast it here. But we can at least play Oko. And try to deal with this Wirewood. They most likely return the Elvish Visionary in response. Elves is pretty rough. We don't have much interaction. We do have the swords to Plowshares, but we don't have any sort of board wipes like Zealous Persecution, Plague Engineer. We don't play anything like Aethersworn Canonist. Interesting, they're just going to let it slide. Interesting tapping the Dryad Arbor here, because it means that if we draw into a land, they can't just block with the Dryad Arbor, then return it with Horizon Ranger before damage, so we don't get Jitte counters. If they attack with all their creatures, I don't think we have to worry about crop rotation for Pendelhaven. I think we can just block what we want to. Just attacking with this, that's fine. This is why Oko is so good as well. They're attacking the Oko instead of something else, which feels pretty great. Well, they might just have like Blazing Archon here. Or the other Archon. Yeah, wow. Knight. Knight's not the worst pickup. We can at least turn this Archon into a 3/3. But they might just have Cradle Ouphe here. Yeah. Unfortunate. So Plowshares seems great. Path to Exile seems great. Dovin's Veto is interesting. Maybe I might try it on the play just because the matchup is that awful. Council Judgment's fine if they're going for the big guys. I think we can cut out Qasali Pridemage. Can probably cut out some number of Thalia. Probably even a land like Plains. Gaddock Teeg's great. Yeah, maybe just all Thalia, to be fair. Veil of Summer is interesting, but I don't think it's really warranted. They might bring in Abrupt Decay for some creatures, but we'll try to just play around that. Yeah, Fire and Ice maybe isn't that great. Maybe there's something better here, but we'll see how it goes in this matchup. This is actually fine. We'll keep this. The double removal is really nice. Okay. So here I don't mind going Swords on Horizon Ranger, play the other Hierarch, and then just pass. I think I'm pretty happy just to path the Birchlaw in response. But do I really care about it? Maybe I want to keep the path for something else, like a Wirewood or another Symbiote. I think I'll let it resolve. Interesting, no more basics. Natural Order's fine. Progenitus is fine. We do have these Council Judgments in the deck, so sadly I don't think we'll get through another league. Yeah, unfortunately. I have done 2 today. So I definitely want to break. Can we draw Oko? Interesting. Blaststone would be pretty nice. That's very true. They could just have like Cradle into another Natural Order as well. But they do only have 2 cards in hand, so I don't see that happening. I think we'll just attack with all 3 creatures. There's no reason not to attack with any. Alright. Hierarch. Not really where we want to be. We do have the option of just attacking here. I think you just chump just in case next turn that isn't around to chump. Alright. I guess it doesn't really matter, we just try to get Windswept Heath. Try to get the Dryad Arbor out and then try to draw into one of these Council Judgments. I guess we can draw into another Oko as well and gain some life. Wasteland. Just doesn't do it. So that is a 1/4, which is pretty bad. Just played against a lot of decks that we just didn't really have much for. I mean, Elves is pretty tough on its own, but not having something like Elvish... not having something like Containment Priest or even Aethersworn Canonist is pretty good. I think Canonist should probably definitely be on this board and probably over the Dovin's Vetoes. I really wanted to try them out and they really haven't performed yet, which is really rough. Everything else seems okay. The one off Teferi is just because I don't have enough to get the second one, which would be in place of the third Oko. It's just a shame because these colors don't really have a board wipe of any type outside of something like Blast Zone. So that's kind of where BANT is at right now. I could see some sort of dark BANT play, but I think then you'd probably want to be playing with Astrolabes over your Hierarchs, which would be really interesting to see, 100%. But that is it for me. A huge thank you to you guys for coming in and watching. My name is Dukes on Twitch. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/c/Dukes on Twitch. You can also find me on Twitter at /Dukes on Twitch. I stream Legacy on Wednesday nights at Australian Eastern Standard Time of 7:30 and Sunday mornings around 10 AM Australian Eastern Standard Time. Knight Rider, thanks for coming in. See you soon again. A huge thank you to you guys coming in. Yeah, the deck seems really sweet. I mean, with this 1-4, we were at 16 wins and 4 losses, so it goes to 17-8, which isn't that great, but it's a lot better than what I thought. Dovin's Veto there, yeah, obviously not doing too much, so we can change that up, but yeah, a huge thank you, Jesus, for coming in as well. You guys have a really nice weekend. Stay safe. I'll see if there's anyone that we can actually send you over to, because I believe Arkan's online, which is very cool, so I might send you over to Arkan because he is a pretty good content creator. Really good for this, for the Legacy community as well. So thank you again. We will see you later on.